Hey, what is up, lovelies? It is Lynn the Gacha Goblin, and I just I just stumbled across something on Twitter that has kind of solidified my belief that Infold is specifically the one who is propagating the infighting in this community, because there is just there are just so many different ways of handling social media, so many different ways of handling their accounts in which they didn't have to pit people against each other, how their inaction inadvertently pit, fans against each other. And I'm reading all of this right now, the thing that I stumbled across, and I'm just like, this is a repeating process that takes a long time, but it is so effective in quelling conversations of boycott, conversations of demanding change in the game. It's shocking. It is shocking, and I'm very disappointed that I was right, but I'm not very happy about it. I feel I feel validated, but at the same time, I'm not crazy for thinking this, that Invold is the one who's propagating the infighting, but I'm also very upset that this is happening. Because this is a repeating pattern that people caught on to. Okay, so let's go over all of the information here. So we have this person here, Ria, cry for XXX. AC and sister shared this with me. This analysis of what happened with the Silas protests and how Infold is using the same strategy over and over again. We need to be careful because Infold wants to divide us and make us fight each other, so we stop pointing the gun at them. I have always said this, that we fight each other more than we fight the company, okay? There is more reason to demand better treatment from the company than us fighting over the dumb things in this community, the petty things, the infighting that constantly like deludes us, okay? It is a corruption, it is a vice that they hold us by, and they know it. So this is the message that was sent, I think on XHS actually, basically laying out the whole plan that Infold has, its strategic plan, and then thankfully, they were able to translate this for us. So let me just make this a little bit bigger, and you will see how shockingly accurate this all is, and how heavy Infold's hand is playing into this. So, for reference, the complete process of Silas's failed protest against Infold games. Alright, so step 1. Silas's player community launches a protest campaign to stop buying cards or participating in events for her favorite male lead until Infold Games compensates them with missing or delayed content. At this stage, player morale is at the highest. The community is the most united, and they are very alert to fake accounts hired by Infold to manipulate discussions. Any such accounts are quickly identified and dismissed. So, this is at the beginning of any boycott. Everybody is very united, and the thing about the boycotts, the thing about the protests against a certain kind of game, now that I'm seeing this, now that I'm reading all of this, it really is a waiting game. It is a waiting game between the player base and also the company. How long can the company hold out against these players who are demanding things and boycotting the game? Who is going to win out over their desire to pull, or who's going to win out in giving the players what they want, basically? So this is the first stage of this whole shenanigans. Step 2, Infold Games responds by lowering the visibility of the protests, paying to remove the topic from trending searches, temporarily removing Silas's main lead from the featured schedule, even replacing his planned event slots with other characters. This prevents the protest from gaining wider attention and reduces its impact on engagement metrics. So this is actually something that I have seen. I saw it during Silas's Silas's boycott. There were some people who were talking about it. I didn't know if it was worthy enough of discussing. I also didn't know if it was real or if it was just people being a little bit parasocial. However, I saw the same thing happening now with Xavier. Xavier's trending tags over on the CN side have been noticeably like de-escalated on platforms over there, and people have been taking notes, and I'm just like, this is interesting. This is a repeating pattern. And I was like, okay, that we'll take that into account. That feels like something that Infold is capable of doing, like paying like, you know, news companies or social media outlets or whatnot to take the trending searches and kind of just like, you know, quell them a little bit. Okay, so step 3, over time, no response from Infold and no new content for Silas's male lead. Players begin to lose interest. The protest gradually fades. So this is, you know, people this happened during Silas's whole thing because we didn't get any information from the company themselves. We didn't feel like it was worth fighting for. Everybody was like, oh, maybe they're working on Silas stuff. Maybe they're actually listening to the community. We didn't hear anything back from Infold. We didn't have any kind of communication or, you know, anything. There was just silence. And people lost interest. People were like, oh, I guess it doesn't matter, you know. They kind of put it on the back burner and started talking about other things, meaning that information and the unity was questioned. You know, people were like, are we still fighting for this, or is this still something that we're fighting for? Where did the boycott go? How come there's no talks about the boycott? All of those kind of questions make the unity of a boycott become iffy, you know. Step 4, Infold Games tests the fans by sending fake accounts in the community to suggest continuing the protest during the male lead's birthday event. Fans reject the idea, of course. Then Infold sends more fake accounts pretending to be fans of other male leads to encourage Silas's fans to boycott the birthday. They claim this will reduce the male lead's popularity and visibility. Now, we know something that is very prominent in the CN side. There are many different like character competitions or whatever, like popularity contests, and they've always had this thing about showing one of the love interests and blurring out the other love interests, even though they're on the same chart, even though they've made top 3. It should be something that should be celebrated as a whole, like, oh my god, Love and Deepspace made the top 5 of the entire contest. But it's never been like that. It's always been like, oh, Silas was number 1, Raphael was number 1, and then they'll blur out the faces of the other guys. And I've always like found that to be very icky, you know. I found it to be very icky because some people say it's to protect, you know, the people who are supporting the person who's in number 1, because then the other 2 or the other love interests who are on the same chart are going to feel down. It's not the love interest themselves, but the community that supports that. They're like, oh, you guys are showing off kind of thing or whatever. So that's why they blur the faces. There's also the other side of that where it's the parasocialism where I'm gonna remove their faces because they don't even deserve to be in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the crazy part of the whole thing. But I always hate the fact that there are these like character competitions that, you know, they really love participating all of the guys in, and it just upsets me. Then Infold sends more fake accounts pretending to be fans of other male leads to encourage Silas's fans to boycott during the birthday. Like, come on. We all know that this is why I said boycotts will only work during multi-banners, because you can't just have one love interest on a banner and then say that you're gonna boycott that banner when you had no intention on spending on that banner because you're a fan of somebody else's love interest. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not reliable to show a united front on a solo person's banner time, it's just not, it's not gonna work. It has to be on a multi-banner to show a unity in the community. Oh, that's a really nice unity in the community. But yeah, I don't know if that's ever truly going to happen. But yeah, I can't believe that they're sending fake accounts pretending to be other male leads. Okay, first they send fake accounts to be, to pretend that they're Infold is, what, CN companies are something else. I don't know if they do this in the States. To be perfectly honest, this is actually something I am very curious about, if this is something that people in the States do. Fans of the main female lead character, a rival faction, joining in trying to persuade Silas fans. Fans of the main female lead. What? Don't you want him to lose popularity and get mocked by everyone? Don't you want to see him lose? This reframes the protest as an attempt to hurt the male lead standing rather than demand fair treatment. See, that's where this is. I have to, I have to give kudos to Infold for knowing how well to manipulate its player base. And I absolutely hate it. I am so curious if this is something that is, very, very much popular in like the Genshin and Woo-Wah spaces. Are there people who are making fake accounts as Genshin players, going into the Woo-Wah space and causing trouble there? Like, you know what I'm saying? This is just so... I feel like this is so much effort. And then step 6, Infold sends another wave of fake accounts, again posing as Silas fans, calling for a boycott, but deliberately revealing in their profiles that they actually follow other male leads. This convinces many Silas fans that the boycott movement is not genuine and is being pushed by rival fan bases to sabotage their male lead. Oh my god, this happened recently. There was a boycott. Gosh, goodness, I am trying to remember. Somebody was saying that they had to boycott Xavier's myth card before it was even released, and it turned out that that person was not a Xavier fan, but it was actually a Raphael fan from the CN side, causing drama and wanting Xavier's stuff to like fall down in sales. Now, I do not know if that person was legitimately a person who is parasocial or if that is a spy sent from Infold. This is so complicated. Like, how are you supposed to know? And then step 7, Infold releases free high quality cards for Silas's main lead. After a period of receiving attractive cards, many fans forget about the protest entirely. And we saw that happen. We literally saw that happen. There is literally no talks about Silas's missing content, Caleb's missing content, in terms of like, before all of this conversation about boycotting this particular multi-banner, there have been very little conversations about it. And if any Silas girly actually talked about it and, was open about demanding for that kind of content, all of the other like fans of the game would get upset at that one Silas account, saying, you're complaining about the game, you guys are so loud, yada yada yada, stop trying to force the company to do any of this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, whoa, wow, this is really crazy. Everybody was on the side of Silas, the Silas girlies, trying to back them up, and now everybody's just kind of like fighting them. And I'm just like, okay, crazy. Step 8, when the male lead's birthday arrives, Infold uses the seasonal event period to shift the focus. They create buzz on trending platforms, circulate chat screenshots, and mock protesting fans. I told you. Several fake accounts post in the community calling for massive participation in the birthday event, turning the atmosphere into celebration and high spending instead of protest. Oh my god. Oh my god. That is insane. That is insane. Wow. Infold really knows how to manipulate the media in their favor. They know how to manipulate the social platforms in their favor. This is like almost, from my experience, okay, from what I've seen on the US, I don't really see big corporations utilizing social media the way that the CN corporations do. Because nowadays, I just see them, putting up ads here and there, whatever, but I don't hear anything about them making fake accounts, trying to move public opinion in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know, is that illegal here in the States or something? Does anybody know? I am very curious to know if this is something that is a global trend, or if this is just something that the CN community, the CN space is very prevalent for. Because that is absolutely insane. This is crazy. The fact that they're doing this for a video game makes me wonder if they're doing this, or if this is even a thing on a bigger scale, like on a community scale, and if that affects the entire world. Does every country do this? This is kind of crazy. A lot of questions are going through my mind. A lot of different questions that my brain is not capable of understanding or processing because I am not a political person. So I'm gonna step away from that. That topic scares me. Several fake accounts post in the community calling for massive participation. Okay, I already read that. Step 9, after the birthday event, most of the active protesters leave the community. Oh my god. The remaining fans are those who accept the lack of compensation. New players are influenced by these remaining fans and no longer see the lack of cards as a problem. Oh, wow. Okay, Infold notices the drop in player numbers, so they send fake accounts and rival female lead fans to reassure Silas's fan base with lines like true fans support him no matter what. The quality of the cards is more important than the number. I see this propagated so often. This is so scary. By this point, Infold has successfully weakened the protests, shift player opinion, and turn the remaining Silas fans into defenders of the company's actions, effectively working as unpaid promoters. This is so freaking scary. This is so scary how they brainwash the community. Guys, did they do this with Infinity Nikki too? Because there was the boycott. I didn't hear anything about that boycott in the news on the CN side. I didn't see any news reporters talking about it on the CN side. Does that mean that they paid reporters there not to talk about it? That is, I feel like they had a harder time of quelling the fan base on the CN side and on the global side, because for Infinity Nikki, it is a much more united front, and there is really relatively no infighting that can be manipulated there. So I think that is really a separate situation. However, I do see a lot of the different things popping up here that can be applied to the Infinity Nikki's. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Interesting note, when protesters for Silas's main lead extend until his birthday, and when similar pushes for other male leads also happen to land on their birthdays, it usually occurs within just a few months. This time allows Infold games to repeat the same strategy with minimal changes. Summary of what the company does to players. Infold game manipulates and sabotages player protests so they lose momentum, and in the end, the fans themselves defend the company. I feel sick. This is sickening. Okay, part 2. What's part 2? Everyone be careful. Do not let Infold fool you. Don't get involved in fights. We're asking other stands to join us not to spend on this banner, at least not on the first day. They're using the same strategy to distract us and shift our attention to other matters. The alleged strategy works like this. Ignore the protest so players get tired and divided. Hide the topic from social media and the game so it doesn't gain visibility. 3. Send fake accounts into fan communities to stir fights between fans of other different characters. Make fans distrust each other, convincing them that protest leaders are actually rival fans in disguise. This happened. Release attractive free content to distract players from the issue. Use important events like character birthdays to turn the protest into a celebration and spend opportunity. Keep only the most passive fans who no longer demand anything and influence new players so they won't complain. Use manipulated positive messaging. Quality is more important than quantity, so players accept the situation. In other words, they extinguish the protests, divide the players, and end up using the fans themselves as free PR for the company. This is so depressing. This is genuinely so depressing. Like, I don't even... How do you even... Is this why people say you will never win against Infold? Because we're just not a united front like that? I am so genuinely shocked. I am so genuinely disgusted. I don't know. How do you even... Like, the first and foremost, we have to stop fighting each other. Honestly, like, we have to stop infighting. That is number one. We have to start trusting one another and form a united, solid front and not get swayed by fake accounts or by people who are supporting the company, you know, the quote-unquote bootlickers. This is so disappointing. Like, I read some of this before I started making this video, but when I read the whole thing, it makes me kind of sad. It makes me genuinely kind of sad that there's a company out there that goes through this much just to manipulate its player base and get them to do what they want. No wonder, literally no wonder they came out with that news article saying that the female player base is so easily manipulated because they are lonely and parasocial, basically. There was a news article that I haven't talked about this on my channel yet, but there was a news article that was released a while back, a long time ago, saying that female player bases are very easily, you know, manipulated, that they are lonely women who will spend so much money on digital boyfriends and stuff like that. It was Infold that said that too, talking about their own player base. And then the article was removed. But that is their true feelings about their player base. My God. I am hoping that somebody, some other company, multiple other companies come out with more games that is comparable to Love in Deepspace, because competition right now is so necessary. Competition is so necessary for anything to change positively in this space. We need competition. We need Infold to see a drop in their numbers. We need them to see that we want to be treated properly. Now, is it for sure that this new company is going to treat us better? Probably not. Probably not. But is it going to divide the amount of money Infold makes and make them try to make better content? Yes. Yeah, I think so. But damn. It's so depressing to be a female gamer sometimes. Well, that is pretty much it. That's the video. Hopefully this didn't, make you too upset, because it made me kind of upset. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Leave your thoughts down below. I want to know what people are thinking about this whole thing. I cannot believe that this is legitimately a repeating pattern that Info does, because I've seen it happen quite a few times already, and I'm seeing it now with the whole Xavier thing too. And it's kind of crazy. It is really kind of crazy. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I am Lynn the Gacha Goblin. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I keep up to date with a lot of different Love and Deep Space news. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. Become a member if you want to. And I have a Discord server, so join if you want that too. Thank you all so much, and I will see you lovelies in the next video. Bye-bye now.